Hello everyone, this is Hedgepig, and it is kind of an off night for me to be streaming, but I felt well enough today to do it, so streaming, yay! How is everyone tonight? I am having a fabulous day. My dad is doing better in the hospital. And, well, he's actually in a rehab center, but he's lucid and he is back to his normal lucid self, so that is wonderful in and of itself. So I decided that I was going to cook, as I try to scoot my chair in here, I am going to cook lemon butter fish with mushrooms. And it's a really simple recipe that requires a plugged-in hot plate, which I did not plug in ahead of time. I spent my time worrying about where was Pink Pig and where was my apron. So, important questions, I will admit, but maybe not as important as plugging in the power. So, lemon butterfish. I am doing it with cod, and that's mostly because I have cod. And this is the sort of fish that I would use this recipe on. You could definitely use it on salmon if you like. You could use it on sole or snapper. You could use it on halibut too. It works really well with very mild flavored fish. And it basically uses lemon and butter and dill and mushrooms. So, and for that I would say white mushrooms, because the white mushroom is a milder flavored mushroom and it won't put any other heavy flavors into it. The cremini mushroom has a strong beefy and earthy flavor, and I wouldn't recommend that for mixing with fish. You can get away with it with salmon. You can even get away with it with chicken, but I wouldn't try it with any of the white fish because their flavor tends to be more delicate. So what I've got here is some wild caught Pacific cod, and it came frozen and we thawed it, and the basic method for cooking this is poaching, which in this case I'm going to pan poach it. Put it here in this pan and put a little bit of water and a bunch of lemon and butter in it, or in this case margarine, because my mom's going to be eating it, and she is allergic to dairy. I know that water probably isn't going to hurt anything, but you know, what can I say? Do not like having water from the outsides of things on things. Okay, so I am going to cut open some lemons, and fresh lemons are the best for this, but if you don't have any and you have some of the, you know, real lemon juice hanging around your house, that works. I'm not a lemon snob, all lemons are good. And these are kind of peculiar lemons. They are actually seedless. They are, if you can see here, seedless lemons. I like to use those when I'm going to be juicing the lemon. So that always helps. Okay, so what I am going to do is, first I am going to turn the heat on low. When you poach fish, this is not a high temperature thing. Fish poaching is on a medium, and it is usually a fairly quick cooking method. if your fish is all the way thawed and not too thick, you're probably looking 10 to 15 minutes. If it's something like sole, which is a very thin cut fish, they're unlike these where you look at them and they've got some pretty beefy sized fillets here. They're, you know, 1.5 inches or so thick. Or salmon tends to be a really thick fillet. You get something like sole or most bass that you find in the stores, tilapia even. They are you're probably looking under 1 inch thick, and that's what is common for them. So you're probably looking at 6 to 10 minutes for poaching for them. There's a lot of different things you can poach in. You can poach in just plain lemon water, or just water itself, but that would be really, really, really bland. You can also poach, you'll see a lot of times if they will require like white wine, like a dry white wine. And if they are not doing a dry white wine, you'll see directions for poaching in either vegetable stock. If they say chicken stock, run, because you're just going to make your fish taste like chicken. And somebody doesn't know enough about recipes to not know that. Fish stock is, of course, a very good choice, or clam juice, which you can get from Snow's in little 8-ounce bottles, and probably 8 to 16 ounces is all you'd really need. You will actually be making stock if you add a little bit of water to your pan, and that's actually what I'm going to do. I don't like the taste that wine gives to fish. It's just sort of a tannic twang to it that I don't find pleasant. If you like wine, more power to you. Everybody has different taste buds, everybody has different tastes. Now, I am going to take my fish and cut it out of its little prisons, or at least cut its little prisons open for now. They aren't going in the pan yet because I am going to be thin slicing a lemon and putting it on top of the butter that's already in the dish. It's already in the pan, and the fish is going to lay on top of that, so it adds a layer of protection between the pan and the fish. So if you have a pan that is not quite so non-stick, or is a thinner pan, it also protects your fish against burning from being, you can still burn it. You can definitely burn the lemons, but if you have it on top of the lemons, it will flavor the fish from both sides, and it will make sure that you have an extra bit of time before your fish will burn, and it won't stick through the lemon. So that's a nice thing. All right, I've got, a wet sleeve. Ick. Time to roll the sleeve up. It would have been nice if it had been before I got my sleeve wet with fish ick, but hey. I'm glad to hear you're good now too, Weevil. I didn't know you were sick, but I'm glad to hear you're doing better now. Okay, I am gonna pick one of my lemons, and I pick this one, and I'm going to roll it to slightly crush the flesh inside, so it releases a lot more juices when I cut it. And that is, I'm not after the juices on my cutting board, I am after the juices when it goes into the pan. And wow, have I got a lot of fish juice right now. I'll just leave that one over there. Okay, I am using fresh baby dill in this, and fresh dill is really good. It's a very mild flavor. It can get strong, so you do need to know how much of it you're using, but if you don't have fresh dill, the conversion between fresh dill and dried dill, which I have here, this is a freeze-dried dill from Lighthouse. It's a really nice quality dill. It smells absolutely wonderful. And the conversion is, if you're going to use a tablespoon of fresh dill, you use a teaspoon of dried. So, yes, I am going to be slaughtering babies. So now that I have this, I am going to take and cut slices probably 1/8 of an inch thick. They don't have to be terribly thick. They're about this thick. And I will be laying that into my pan here, and I'm going to increase the heat to medium. I had it on lower while I was dealing with things and would look away. Didn't want to burn the margarine. In the end, it's basically a fat that you're putting in there to make the fish cook a bit better. It adds flavor to it. The butter in particular does. I don't normally cook this with margarine. Butter is how I was taught to cook it by my mother, and the base recipe used butter, and we never used margarine when I was growing up. So that's just one of the family things. We always used butter. So now what I'm going to do is lay these down here, and oops, that's 2 pieces, and this will cook into the margarine too. These lemon bits, the lemon oil on the outside rind of the lemon will cook into it, and help with the flavoring of the fish. So now I am going to take, and this probably is not going to be a long stream today, people, because it doesn't take that long to poach fish. It's going to take me longer actually after I get the fish out to finish the sauce. So, right, and I am just laying these down, and what the heck, why not use the fish water that was in here as an add-on, since I've got so much of it. And the sizes, as you can see, vary pretty greatly when you're looking at this. They may all weigh similar, but and in this case, no, they don't. They actually do weigh different amounts because they made no effort at all to fillet these in equal bits, and that's fine. I can account for that. When you're cooking fish like this, you want to cook it till it flakes, and that means when you put a fork in it and twist slightly, the meat shreds are going to, oh look, I have extra meat shreds. The meat shreds are going to come apart or flake. So that's always good to look for. And here's another little stray bit of fish. Didn't want to come out and join the others, but it's a gonna. Okay, so I have now got all of this extremely wet fish rubble here. And I am going to add about a 1/2 cup more of liquid. I am poaching this in a cup of liquid total. So I have know where to put this. Hang on, I am just awash in this. Yes, that'll do. Allow me to mop up my cutting board here. It is, you can't see it, but it is just awash in fish water. That's another thing that my usually using them from mostly frozen does, and that is it saves me from ever having to deal with overflows of fish water because it's still frozen in the fish. Okay. I'm almost ready, folks. Now, the idea about using the dill, using fresh dill is obviously better. You can get the oils out of the plant then, and that's always good. Another good thing is it's easy if you don't want to leave the dill in, but just want to have the flavor of the dill. Wow, am I blind? Okay, there we go. There we go. A dill frond looks like this, basically. You have, these are the stalks, and they will season things too, but these little fronds, these little leafy things here, those are actually the dill fronds, and that's what you will see if you open up the dill here and look at what they freeze dried, and it's just the little pieces there. You see, that's the little frond part that they did, and I'm going to go ahead and throw that on there since I got it out. You want to give a light salt to this, so I'm going to be very careful in how much I put on here because of my mother. And salt has an incredible amount of sodium. It is just amazing how much salt there is in things. And you want to add a slight touch of pepper. And I am going to take this fresh dill and I'm going to cut off part of it, and then I'm going to press on it lightly so that it has the dill oils coming out in those pretty little fronds. And that will season the fish a little better than not having pressed it first. Now, ideally, you would have a lid on this. I can't find a lid right now, so that's fine. We've had a very exciting day here. We've had the garage out to put a new battery in my dad's van, and so that was fun. The other battery is dead. It doesn't get much deader. We jumped it, and it drove around after we jumped it. We drove it up and down the freeway a couple hours, which should have got the battery well and truly fixed in there, but unfortunately didn't. So now I'm going to take this second lemon. I know we've got this all resting on slices of lemon, but this is a very lemony recipe here. So I've already got some bubbling going on there, and I am just going to squeeze this over the top of all of the fish. And this in the end uses a very simple pan sauce. Hey Badass Mama, good evening. Tonight we are making lemon butterfish with mushrooms, and it's got dill in it and lots of fresh lemon. It's got a little salt and pepper, and it has some margarine underneath it because my mother's going to eat this and she can't have dairy. So we've got that for now. And I need to take a little bit more of the margarine to put on top of the fish. It's basically the effect of seasoning from both sides. And let me see, I'm gonna raise the heat just a little bit more on that. And you can also poach this in the oven if you want to put it inside of a baking bag. You can take and put down your layer of lemons and then your dill, put the fish on top of it, squeeze lemon on top, and a little salt and pepper, and put little bits of butter on top of your fish so it will melt, and close the oven bag, poke a couple holes, and cook it at about 325 degrees in the oven for about 20 minutes, depending on how much fish you have. If you have a couple pounds, I would say, yeah, a couple 20 minutes would probably do it. This might not melt all the butter, but I'm hoping it will, because it doesn't have a lid. If it was in the oven, or if you had, another thing you can do is get a baking dish that has a lid, like those Corningware ones. Hey, Professor Niels, welcome in. I know that you have family things going on, so I really appreciate you showing up. Thank you so much. And I have got 2 pounds of cod in here. I have got a stick and a bit of margarine. I have got the juice of half of a lemon and an entire lemon sliced up and underneath the fish here. And I have got I would say probably, if I were to mince it up, I'd say I had about 2 tablespoons of fresh dill. And wow, you can already smell the lemon and the dill in here. It's just wonderful, the smell of this. And as I said, you can do this with almost any kind of fish that you want to do it with. You could do it with sole, or you could do it with snapper, you could do it with cod, which I'm doing, or you could do it with the halibut, and that would taste well. Any of the milder fishes, this really brings out a wonderful taste in them between the lemon and the dill and the butter. So, and this will make a pan sauce in the end, which means basically all of the cooking juices, and I add some more butter to it and reduce it a little bit, and that makes your sauce. How is your husband doing, Badass Mama? I know he's been in the hospital. Is he doing better? I sure hope so. As I said earlier in stream, my father's been in first the hospital and then in the rehab center, and he's finally had visible improvement, and that just makes me incredibly happy. So I'm having a very good day here. I'm just stirring up the sauce a little bit here so that we get some of the boiling, bubbling bits everywhere. And I'm going to take my spatula and take some of the hot liquid and kind of bathe the fish in it. Go ahead and punt the butter off to the side. And then just, I'm basically basting the fish with the sauce, and you'll note it's a cloudy colored sauce now because it's not only got the fats from the margarine in it, but it's also got the cooking juices from the fish. As the fish is cooking, the juices are released, of course, and it goes into the pan to make lovely scrumptious tastes that we want to. Thank you for the host. I appreciate that. Have you tried doing a Twitch stream yet, or are you still streaming only from YouTube? Now my largest piece of fish still is a little opaque here. I'm going to turn it. Actually, I'm going to turn all the fish just so that I'm very thorough and get the lemon slice off of the bottom. And if you can't already see it, particularly on this piece, boy, here we go. Come on. I can't really see what I'm doing here. Okay, so if you look at this fish, you can see that it's already starting to show you where the different, hold it up here, you can see where the different muscles are, those lines on the fish. That is almost flaking, which means the fish is almost done. It's that quick, poaching fish. It's usually a relatively healthy way of dealing with the fish, because if you're just water poaching with just a little bit of wine or broth or something like that in it, it is a little bit more healthy. The butter in this makes it more decadent and flavored wonderful. And oh wow, I just tasted one of the little bits and they are wonderful. You can taste the lemon very strongly, a little bit of dill, because dill is a nice mild seasoning. And you can definitely taste the butter. So I'm going to poke the fish here and see, that one is not yet done, but the rest of these where you can see the meat, they are flaking. So I will be taking those off very shortly here, leaving the bigger pieces in there. Okay, so I've got a very pretty plate here that I am going to be putting the fish on. And I use a very long spatula that's meant for things like fish. And I am going to lay the fish on it. You can see how the fish, as I take them up, you can see the striations in the muscles of the fish. Yes, I am poaching the fish in lemon, a half a cup of water, and margarine in this case, to make a sauce that will go not only over the fish, but it's going to go over rice as well. So I am going to get these remaining fish bits out of here and put them on the plate. And try to resist the urge to just start eating the fish, because this is good just as it is right now with the lemon and dill and butter. And it's so easy to poach fish. It really, really is. The only time you run into problems is when you have a fish that is so much thicker. But what I am going to do while that fish finishes, I am going to put a pound of mushrooms in here, which is a lot of mushrooms, but I like mushrooms, so that's what we're doing. And I am going to cook these down with the lemon and the dill. And as these cook in about 10 minutes, they will, as a matter of fact, add so much mushroomy flavor to this. It'll just be wonderful. I now have a place to put my rubbish, so I'm sticking it in that container there. And I am going to move these off of the fish that's remaining in here. And this fish is starting to flake. It's almost done, so I am going to go ahead and turn the heat up to medium high so that it will cook the mushrooms. Okay, you have a great night, Badass Mom. When you can catch the VOD, like I said, this is not going to be a terribly long stream because poaching fish does not take a long time. This is a meal you can get together in probably 35 minutes, including the time it takes to steam the rice. I am going to want a different plate for this since I'm using this as kind of a catch-all. And this is done now. So I will remove that cod to the waiting dish here. And the mushrooms will release their juices into the lemon and butter, and it will it'll add a nice third flavor to it. You'll be able to taste the mushrooms in the dish, and you'll be able to taste the lemon and dill in the mushrooms. And it's not something you see a lot of the time as fish and mushrooms, but they do go together very well. If you weren't going to use white button mushrooms, which is what I'm using right here, you could use shiitakes. They get used with fish a lot in Japanese cooking, and you could also, thank you. You could also use oyster mushrooms are a nice mushroom with it. We're a bit spoiled for mushrooms here in the Pacific Northwest. We have a lot of them, a lot of different kinds. I am going to put this on here as a platter so that I can make a pretty plate. And if you were going to stop with just the lemon and butter poaching, you could serve this with additional squeezes of lemon and tartar sauce or cocktail sauce. But here we're going to have it, like I said, with the other sauce. So that's the lemon butter sauce. Okay. Stick that on top there where it will help keep warm. I'm resting it on top of my kettle of steamed rice off to the side that you can't see. It is my Black & Decker rice steamer. And that does make absolutely gorgeous steamed rice. Hello, Hasher. Nice to see you. I saw you just the other night in, I can't remember whose stream. I think it was Professor Neil's. But welcome into my cooking stream. You're kind of arriving at the end, but hey, that's fine. I have just poached 2 pounds of cod in margarine, lemon, and dill, and a little bit of water, and I am finishing up the sauce now. I added in 1 pound of white mushrooms that I'm cooking in the lemon butter dill sauce. Hydrate! Yay! I'm gonna hydrate with coffee. Thank you. That's lovely. And Andrew will be happy that I am drinking his coffee. Actually, he's kind of upset I'm drinking his coffee. Andrew never likes to share coffee. Pink Pig! Alrighty then. A mysterious visitor comes slinking into chat, and here she is. Pink Pig! Yay! It's Pink Pig! Pink Pig! Pink Pig! It is Pink Pig! Everybody loves a Pink Pig, and she loves everybody. Yeah! Yeah! Pink Pig! And that is my happy dancing Pink Pig emote that Professor Niels made for me out of the goodness of his heart and love for Pink Pig. And he does wonderful pixel art for people, and the rest of my emotes are made by Glittered Kitten, who does artwork and emotes, and my pretty little gold rings that are my redeem emote is down there. That was from her as well. And her art is going to be featured in my merchandise, which I am going to be linking to my page any day now. We were having a little bit of issues with it the first time I tried. Hello, Ukazzy. How are you doing? There's that UK Azzy. I'm not sure. Hello there. Yeah, if you're not hungry before you come to a cooking stream, chances are you will be hungry after being here for a little while. Today I have poached cod in lemon, dill, and margarine instead of butter. I would normally have used butter, but we have some intolerances in the house. We're moving around, and I am now cooking the mushrooms in that sauce and allowing the sauce to cook down. And then it will be going over my fish on steamed rice. And you can add any vegetable you like to that. My personal favorite for pairing with the cod is either green beans or zucchini you can steam. And that also goes very well with lemon and butter. And I'm not going to show you cooking the entire meal because, you know, I don't think it's that exciting to see me heat up a can or thaw a cup full of vegetables in a pan. margarine. Okay. Did I say it funny? And I have got my mushrooms starting to release their fluids, and I am going to hunt down the lemons that are in here and remove them. So that the lemon oil doesn't get too aggressive, because it will. That is one thing. Fresh lemon oil tastes really good. Lemon oil that's gone a bit long tastes really harsh. So I want to go through this and find the lemon that's in it. I think I just found a piece. I did. And there's another. And I use seedless lemons so that I wouldn't have any seeds at all in this or have to stop and pick them out. If you're just juicing lemons into this, that's one thing, but if you're actually cooking the lemons in it, you want to make sure you're not having seeds that you're going to be forced to, pick out from between your teeth. That's just not pleasant at all. Okay, there's another. And this is a little hot. Once upon a time, I could not have done that. And probably people who aren't used to cooking can't do it at all. But people like Weevil, who is also a chef, he won't have any difficulty with handling hot things like that. I've seen. Well, if you don't mind the seeds of a lemon in what you're eating, okay. I am a little bit more picky than that when it comes to my food. So, I do know people that eat whole lemons just from the outside like an apple. He is a owner of his own cafe, and he just eats lemons, just starts taking a bite and eats them rind and all. Enjoys them very much. And okay. You don't like kidneys? You like liver? Because the texture and flavor is awfully similar. I don't suppose you can see the child that's screaming in the playground, can you, honey? That sounds more like hurt than anything else. Oh, okay. We have the playground for our apartment building is right across the street from us, and so that's about 10 feet. And the children like to pretend they're baby pterodactyls, basically. There's a lot of screaming and shrieking that goes on over there. And sometimes it's a little hard to tell whether they're in pain, someone's murdering them, or they're just being obnoxious. So, they're supposed to be supervised, but by and large they're not. So, it's just some particular screams make me want to investigate it, make sure nobody's hurt. Okay, the mushrooms are nearly cooked and the sauce is reducing. So I am going to be getting this ready. Now, a way to thicken a pan sauce, you can add flour to it, you can add cornstarch or arrowroot. You can also add butter to it, and butter will thicken your sauce as well. And that is what I am going to do. And if you were going to make your dish absolutely swim in this, it would probably not be that great for you to have a lot of it. But as just a drizzle over your fish and rice, it's not going to hurt anything to have some richness in there from the margarine or butter. It just sort of, I'm going to call it muddles the sauce. It thickens it up. Oh, I love shepherd's pie. Are you using that as the UK definition of a shepherd's pie, which is a shepherd's pie is made with lamb? The American definition is any kind of thick stew that you top with mashed potatoes. Once upon a time, I was actually kind of surprised that it had a different meaning, and that if you were looking at shepherd's pie, it had to be made with lamb. Cottage pie is made with beef. They have fish pies, which are of course made with fish, but they don't have a special name for if you were going to make that style of food where you have meat and vegetables and a very nice gravy on it, topped with mashed potatoes and then browned nice and brown in the oven. You don't have that for chicken, so not sure why. What happens if you mix lamb and beef in the same pie? Well, I'm fairly sure some British grannies come hunt you down and paddle you till you're sorry. But I think lamb and beef would probably be pretty tasty in a pie together. But that's me. The more meat, the merrier. Adding bacon to either one of those to any one of those actually, is also extremely tasty. So you could also add bacon to your chicken pie or your beef pie or your shepherd's pie, and that would be pretty darn tasty. Yeah, I like Irish stew, which is actually a very plain recipe. It doesn't give you anywhere to hide. You have to have good quality vegetables. You have to have excellent quality lamb. And if you make your lamb your Irish stew, it's lamb, it's potatoes, it's onions. I've seen some people put celery in it, some people put carrots, but that really isn't traditional. Traditional is pretty much lamb and potatoes and onions. So, okay. This is starting to thicken up, and it's going to thicken up more later. So I'm gonna get that off side more. And that off to the side more. And what I'm looking for basically is not just to cook the mushrooms, which you will notice now are quite a bit tinier than they were when I put them in here. It's to reduce the liquid in here by about half, and that won't really take very long. Yeah, adding Guinness is also Guinness is a good combination with beef and with lamb. What is the skews? I'd love to hear what that is, UK Kazi. What is it? What is it? A stew from Liverpool? There is a very popular concoction in England called a steak and ale pie. Oh, it has beets in it. That's interesting. Yeah, that's not the usual. I think it would probably taste good. Actually, I'm sure it does. I'm just pondering the taste in my head. It does sound good though. Might have to try that. I love beets. I always have. I like them pickled and on salads, and I like them, just regular boiled beets are awfully tasty too to me. You don't cook the beetroot with the stew, it's served on the side? Oh, okay. Well, if they cooked the beetroot with the pie, it would be with the stew, it would be a very, very, very red stew. I know that much. Beets, unless they're golden beets, stain the living crap out of absolutely everything. You put it on your cutting board's going to turn red. And yes, beets are actually quite sweet. They are they're a vegetable that we get sugar from, although that's generally sugar beets. Okay, I'm going to take a nice piece of cod here and put it over. And I'm going to take some of my mushrooms and sauce. And lay them on here as well. You could serve this with broccoli too. It would be pretty darn tasty with broccoli. And as you see, this is, like I said, it's just a pan sauce. It's not tremendously thickened. But it adds nice flavor to your rice. I mean, I guess you could serve this with noodles if you wanted to, but rice is the only thing we've ever put it with. So I am going to put this here, and then I'm going to take my dill. It is the dried dill, and lightly sprinkle it on top here so it looks pretty. And the fan I've got blowing across here has kindly blown all of the dill across the table, so I've well seasoned the table. So now I am going to take and mop down some of the sauce here to make the plate pretty. And I'm going to have my husband take pictures of this. And this is your finished cod, lemon butter cod with mushrooms over rice. And the pan sauce that you serve it with is just it's the cooking juices of the mushrooms and the fish and lemon juice, and it's awfully tasty. So, I don't have a fork, so I'm going to do a little mixed taste here. I'm going to take some of the cod from the other plate and a little bit of rice. And then I am going to take a mushroom from here and lay a little bit of the pan juices across the rice so they'll have a flavor. That's very good. Yes, this is, as a matter of fact, a hot plate. It is made by Farberware, and it is a 2-plate hot plate that uses solid cast iron cooking things. Here is the cod. Take a picture of. And I can tell you now the show's over. We have the cod here that I showed you the pictures of. We have the pan sauce that we made with lemon and dill and mushrooms. And if you had wanted to, you could have added a half a cup of white wine to it, non-sweet white wine. So a dry white wine, like a Sauvignon Blanc, would have been good with this. And it makes a lovely quick meal, as you can see. I actually spent more time talking about it, I think, than actually cooking it. So let me check and see who we have that we can raid that's out there. Oh, I see Curie. We're going to go raid Curiosity. She is a long dark streamer, and she is just a wonderful person. She is very funny and very nice. And if you like watching The Long Dark, she is someone who can run through that thing blindfolded, and I do mean it. She actually has blindfolded loper runs. So that is definitely something to see. So we are going to be raiding Curiosity, and we will be returning here probably on Saturday. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you, those of you who subscribed. Thank you, my first-time talkers, and have a great night. Enjoy the seafood.